I've never seen an unhappy black woman with a fine ass white man. I've never seen it.
I swear to God, y'all act like white men can't break your hearts too. Wasn't that black lady just up on the internet exposing that big ass white man about I bought the car, the house, I'm the reason we're on social media? Did we miss that? Wasn't Halle Berry married to Oliver Martinez, that French man from Unfaithful with Diane Lane and Richard Gere? And now she pays that man spousal support and spent over $200,000 just trying to co-parent with this man. Y'all act like just because the people that you chose to date, the black men that you chose to pick, just because they didn't treat you right, you're gonna hop on over to the YT crew.
Welcome back to the channel. You see the information on the screen, so you already know what I'm about. Let's get into this. So I already know it's going to be a hot topic because it's always a hot topic every time I talk about anything with interracial relationships, especially when it comes to black women dating white men or other races. Well, the first thing I want to say is I agreed a lot with the second lady. And the reason why I agree with her, I'm just going to be honest with you, is because most of it is who you are as a person. We have to, I just did a video talking a little bit about accountability. We have to take into account that not only do we pick people that we generally want instead of the people that we generally need, but there's also a point where we have to look at ourselves and what we ourselves are bringing into the environment. I've tried to tell you guys a couple of stories about, some of the women that I've dated and some of the things that I've been through. And at least two of the women that I've dated, they had a lot of drama in their life. Lots and lots and lots of drama, just all these different things. And they wanted to blame it on the men. They love to blame it on the men. And then they dated me and they admitted that there was no drama over here. It was very peaceful. Okay. But what I noticed very quickly was they were trying to start drama. They didn't understand that they themselves, not only did they crave drama, they were drama. And see, a lot of people don't recognize that it's like I said, when you are the type of person that you want a certain energy, you want a certain person to look a certain way, feel a certain way, things like that, there is an equivalent side in you. We used to talk about it all the time. We would talk about reflections. That was the term that we used back in Christian Singles Connect. And how I looked at it was like this. I said, if you see, I would tell the men especially, because this was, a big thing for men. And I would say, if you see a woman walking in a pretty dress in high heels, what is the man that she wants? Do you think she wants the guy in the hoodie and the J's? Do you think she wants him? And, and I had to kind of, let them think about it. And we were playing kind of like the little Sesame Street, like who goes with who, type of situation. And I was like, no, the woman in heels wants the man in the suit. That's how that works. There is a reflection of energy. There's a reflection of look. There's a reflection of just who that person is on the inside. And sometimes they wear it on the outside. And how this is equivalent is that a lot of women, like I said, they say that they want a certain lifestyle, but they'll find a person that could give them that lifestyle, and then they will reject that person for whatever reason. And I think a lot of black women think, okay, well, I could jump to white men. But one of the things that I've noticed is that when people jump into another culture, they're willing to accept things in that culture that they would not accept in their own. There are a lot of black men, that are intellectual / nerdy. And a lot of times I'll run into black women that will date white men that are intellectual / nerdy. And what's interesting is, I'm not saying all of them, but what's interesting is a lot of those white men aren't as put together as their intellectual black equivalent. But because the stereotype within the black community, is a little bit more of a laid back urban type of man, a lot of women don't kind of get, when they get that energy from a black man, they don't kind of want it. They kind of don't accept it, but they're willing to accept it from the white man. I'll admit, I've dated one or two white women myself, And I've noticed that, yes, some of the things that I will complain about when it comes to black women, I would accept when it comes to white women or to Asian women or to Latino women or Indian women or even African women. It was almost as though they start off with a little bit more of a clean slate. And so the pressures that even I would put on a black woman, I might pull some of that pressure off on a woman that was not a part of black culture. And I think that is a huge thing that black women have to understand. The very first, before we get into anything else, and this is just this first point, is that black women have really great men in their own culture that they ignore. Now, that being said, if you want to succeed in someone else's culture, you have to generally have a little bit of that within yourself. So what do I mean by that? A lot of black people, okay, in America, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, okay, and I'm hoping that some of the people can give me a little bit of grace. If you're a woman and you cannot find a very good black man and know that he's a good black man and get a black man that will treat you well, might be more difficult for you to do the same if you want to get a white man. Okay, it seems like, there's a difference, but it's not. Because if you 100% can't get him at all, don't understand him at all, it is that energy that transfers and allows you to go to another place. One of the things that I tell the men all the time, because there's a lot of men that want to be passport bros. All right. And I have nothing against passport bros. I have nothing against passport gals. I've even said on this channel that about 50% of the women that I've dated have been from overseas. They might live in America, but they're from overseas. All right. And they tend to like me. But my point is, when I date black women, many of the black women, especially from, a certain set, they do like me. I really don't have that big of a problem. They like me. They like how I deal with things. They like, how I man up, right? And the arguments that they have with me about my personality, about who I am, generally has nothing to do with the non-negotiables. It might be to little quirks that they don't like the fact that I generally keep my apartment cold because I'm hot-natured. So that generally is a complaint with about 20% of the women that I date. But it's not a complaint with all of them, all right? Because some of them like a cold environment, right? So my point with this is, if I dated women from overseas, those same qualities transfer. So now if I'm dating a woman from Africa, if I'm dating a woman from Europe, if I'm dating a woman from Asia, from India, wherever, those women are looking for certain things. Okay, and if I'm able to give those to them, that's why I always tell the passport bros, if you cannot get even a sophisticated traditional woman in America to like you, even the unattractive ones, you're going to struggle overseas. Because you got to be able to do it at home first. Now, like I said, you might get a better package overseas. So I do understand the desire to go. So I'm not, for the men that are watching this, I'm not saying, I'm telling you 100% not to go. But if you can't get it at all, then that's a problem. And it's the same thing for women, which is what this video is about. If you can never, ever notice, pay attention to the good black man, then it's going to be hard for you to make that transition, because even when you go into the white man, you might find them fetishizing you, or you might find them just trying to get over, or, just be with a black woman for the first time in their life, or you might find one that's used up, okay, or whatever it is. Or you might even find a white man that, just like I said, he just wants the best of the best black woman. Like they brought up Halle Berry. And at one time, Halle Berry was the top of the game. She was the best black woman, quote unquote. And so, yeah, a lot of white men was like, yeah, I take that. I want the best black woman. But you have to understand that that is part two. You have to be able to be that in that energy. And I know that's a little tricky, but, you really do kind of have to be that. And then the final thing is, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody is I'm just being real. It's like there's good white people, there's bad white people. There's good Asian people, there's bad Asian people. There's good Latino people, there's bad Latino people. Like one of the biggest things I'm always telling men, if you're going to go overseas and you're going to date other women, is like you have to spend time in those countries because you don't know who this woman is. She's coming up to you. She's telling you this, that, and the third about herself. Shoot, she just wants a green card. Half of them just want a green card. They're trying to escape poverty. You have to make sure she likes you for you. And see, I think a lot of black women, and this is really the core of the statement, because I want to make sure I could tell women how to make that transition if that's what you want. But the bottom line is, I'm just being real. A lot of black women just make bad choices. And they make bad choices because they don't understand the purpose of a man. And a lot of people have talked about this, and it keeps going over around in circles. And I'm going to probably talk about it a million times again, because, again, that's really what it is. People are trying to make it into something else, but it's not. You have the opportunity every single day to make great choices. And we love to say that, even black women love to say, well, there's not any men, there's not any men, there's not any men. And I like what somebody said on one of the podcasts. They were basically just like, you could pick them out in middle school. I truly believe you can pick them out today. And it really is that simple. The guy, half of the time that you bypassed throughout your life is that guy. It really is that simple. And I was just having a conversation with a friend recently, because I think from her perspective, she does, she sees, evidently she's a woman, so she doesn't see, things from men's perspective. But when I've talked to men about them going out and dating and things like that, and I'll say things like, have you walked past 10 women, said good morning to them, smiled to them, say hello, whatever it is that you say, and one of them respond. But the other 9 just refuse. They don't even look at you. They just keep walking. And so many men will understand exactly what I'm saying. They just laugh it off. We laugh it off as men, and we just kind of joke about it. But that's part of what I'm talking about. Some of those men that even you walk past in the grocery store and you did not talk to, and he was nice to you, and he did not disrespect you, and he didn't come up flirting, because I think that's something else. Because we had a really great conversation recently, and they were talking about that flirting energy, because a lot of women, that's what they want. They want that flirting energy. And while I will admit, I think more men need to get into that flirting energy a little bit more when they're out and about and saying hello. But at the same time, not every man moves that way. And again, that's another way that women also need to be paying attention to. See, I don't think a woman just should say, spend any time with a man, talk to a man just because he's flirting. Just because he seems like he's fun. Because you don't know if he's fun until you talk to him. He could just be having a really great day, so it seems like he's fun, but then you can find out he's crazy. What I'm saying is spend time with any good man. He's halfway decently attractive. And then you can say, okay, he's treating me with respect. Those 2 things he should be able to get you. If you're not busy and if you're not in a place of fear, he should be able to get a conversation. Like a 10 minute, 15 minute conversation. If you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to take it to a level where you can get to know him better, then again, that's on you. And, really, like I say, these days, I'm really starting to see, like I say, that for a lot of people, they're just their own worst enemy. They have really great people in front of them, but they reject them. And then they go after really bad people, and then they get mad when it doesn't work. And then we idolize other things that we only see a piece of. But I'm going to be real with you, even when it comes to black women, like I say, and white men, a lot of the white men that a lot of these black women are getting, I'm just being real, some of them are rejects. Okay, or like I said, it's a leftover thing. I found this really great video the other day, and there was this white man, and he was like, man, probably 60 years old. And he was marrying this young black girl. And she was just happy because she was getting married, and she had a man that loved her. But this dude had a whole life and probably only has another 20 years of his life. And so now she's being shortchanged when she could have actually had a really great man that maybe, was right there, and maybe he wasn't everything she thought he should be. But like I said, she wasn't willing to put in the extra 15%. And then there also has been this whole concept that a lot of black women don't know how to find the good man, Okay, I want to make sure I stress that, because there's always going to be somebody in the comments that gets it confused. They don't know how to take the good man and clean him up. What they do is they go find the bad man that's just another version of a bad man, okay, and then clean him up. No, you only clean up the guy that has the good energy, that's already on the path, that's already his train tracks, his train is moving down the train tracks. He has vision, he has motivation, he loves you, he cares about you, he has a relationship with God, he is 100% locked in, and he has a manliness about him. That guy you can clean up. The rest of the guys you leave alone. And again, people got to get into that mindset. They got to get into that mind frame, and we have to get away from this whole concept of always thinking that somebody has it better on the other side. Now, that being said, I've always said, go to where you're appreciated. So if you do find it difficult, even if you open yourself up and you've talked to people and you've given it time, okay, if you still find that, true, then I don't care if you date white men or Asian men or whatever men. The same thing I've told men. I don't care if you date outside your race. Because people always come to me and they're like, Jay, do you have a problem with people dating outside the race? Because you're always talking about black people and this, that, and the third. I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'm going to marry a black woman or not. I was like, I'm not against it. But there's certain things that I want. And if a black woman in America can't fathom giving me those things or being that woman for me, then it's a no. And if I can get that from another culture, then I'm going to take it. I'm not going to take, an average, just being real, just an average situation with a black woman because, she doesn't think I'm all that in a bag of chips and I'm her, I wasn't her type and I'm not her first choice and all this other kind of stuff. So now I feel like leftovers. Okay. When I can have a woman that's of another culture and she sees me as awesome. She sees me as great. She sees me as, oh my gosh, I landed me a really great one. And then she's a little bit higher on the scale as far as everything that she can bring to me. I'm not going to take less, from black women that I would take from any other woman. So I do think that all people, both men and women, don't take less. But again, I think people get caught up. And it's just like I've told you before. One woman I dated, she liked me in suits. I wore suits. Another woman I dated, she wanted me in jeans, t-shirt, or joggers, t-shirts, and a chain. And so that's what I wore when I hung out with her. See, I don't mind changing my style to meet whatever it is that you want. Okay, but the bottom line is, if you as a woman cannot figure out who a good man is and what he looks like, that's on you. And I've talked about that over and over and over again. So you can watch my older videos. You can watch them all from A to B. You can watch them all from A to Z. Start from the beginning, go through all of them if you want to. But the bottom line is, I've already told you how to pick good men. I've already told you what to look for. I've told you the personality traits. I'm always throwing up the non-negotiables. And so if you can't figure that out after over a year and a half worth of knowledge, then that's just on you. You're not willing to go through the lessons. And I know for me, like I'm learning some new skills right now, and I actually have spent hours upon hours learning these new skills. And if you're not willing to do it on the number one most important choice of your life, that's on you. That's on you. Anyway, every other Thursday, we do Thursday Talk. So please come out for that. It's always a lot of fun. You can come in, tell me you hated this video. You can come in, you tell me you like this video. You can get some things off your chest. You can talk to other people that follow me. But until then, please like, please subscribe, and I'm going to see you all in the very next video.